And we are live.
Awesome.
Welcome, everyone. Today, I feel super fortunate because I'm talking to this amazing woman called Jessica Ann, and we already have two people join,
That's
Bill and
awesome.
Mirror, Linda and Christy. Thank you so much for joining in a book club,
Oh, that's exciting.
non-fungible book club. And Lina and William, oh my goodness, we have a bunch of people joining. Steve, thank you for joining again. Talking to Jessica and who I met through OBA. And we did one brilliant arc, and we did kind of a workshop together. And that's how
Hmm.
we met. And I heard about her amazing book. So I'm just going to hand it over to Jessica to start to share a little bit about you, and then we'll just go from there.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Yeah, thank you
everyone.
so much for inviting me to come talk about my book. Usually, I'm the one hosting these things, so this is a fun opportunity that I get to be featured on your Substack as well. So yes, I am Jessica Ann, and I have my own Substack that called Wildest Dreams, where I talk. I started last year. When I launched, and I really honestly had no idea what I was doing, but I decided I was going to document my author journey in becoming a published author. I had this book written that I wrote back in 2020, and honestly, it had sat on my computer for about 5 years, and I realized I wanted to finally get it out in the world and get it published, but I had no idea what I was doing. I assume a lot of people are in that boat when they decide to publish a book. So I decided I would document all the ups and downs, the process of what that takes to really get it out into the world over this last year. And that's what I've done on Substack and have got quite a following. And then on December 5th, I actually published my book. So here it is. It's called Woven in Time.
It looks so beautiful. And I just have to say, I love the book. I started reading it and I'm like, I just don't want to stop. I want to know what's happening to all these women. I love the plot. I love your writing. It's just so easy to read. And it's just like, feel like I'm walking right there in the market and back to history and going into the future. And yeah, I just love it. So I don't know how much of the plot you want to give away, or if you want to give us a little bit more about what is the book about.
Yeah, I can read the back cover blurb.
Sounds great.
And then I'll give a little bit of my own description. But so, across centuries, three women are bound by an invisible thread, one that dares them to question everything and follow what whispers in their souls. Because it turns out we are far more magical than we ever imagined. 1307 England. Miriam, a weaver's daughter, longs for more than her impending arranged marriage. When she meets a handsome monk and begins practicing magic in a secret mystery school, she believes she has found her true path, until the Earl begins hunting heretics and her new powers may cost her life. 2017, California. Leah, an atheist fortune teller and boxed wine connoisseur, just wants peace during a brutal custody battle and debilitating migraines. But when a strange journal from the 1300s arrives addressed to her, she is drawn into a mystery that challenges everything she believes. 2307 New Soteria. Karaya, a rising marketing analyst, witnesses an impossible murder in a world where crime was supposedly eradicated. Thrust into the dark underbelly of society, she learns of disturbing government cover ups, repressed childhood memories, and her own connection to a 1,000-year-old prophecy. As fate and free will collide, Miriam, Leah, and Karaya must unravel their pasts, face their deepest fears, and embrace their power. Ultimately, they must decide: will they accept the lives written for them or risk it all and step into the unknown?
It is magical, and it is truly magical. And you did say in the beginning of the book too, there's some magic sprinkled in it.
Yes.
And I'm kind of curious what inspired you to start to write this book, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it, as you can tell, like, it is a little bit of fantasy, a little dystopian, a little sci-fi. It's
Yeah,
a very, yeah, genre blending. There's romance,
yeah,
too, sprinkled in. Honestly, I've always been somebody that has had stories in my head. I think like a lot of people probably here on Substack are similar. Um, as a creative person, I've always, have ideas going all the time. And ever since I was a kid, I love to read and I love to write. Unfortunately, I was told when I was in fifth grade, I had wrote a short story. I was actually really proud of it. It was called Mars on Ice.
Uh-huh.
It was a sci-fi story about aliens who had taken over ice skaters' bodies.
I love it. Do you
Because
still have this story?
I had just seen Stars on Ice, which is like an ice
Uh-huh.
skater show, in person, and so I had this great idea for Mars on Ice. Anyways, I brought it to school, shared it with my class, and I actually had a teacher's aide tell me that it wasn't any good.
Oh.
Yeah, which was off like, looking back as an adult, I'm like, "What adult would tell
Mhm.
a child their story isn't good?" But that hit me, and it really sat with me for years and years and years, and I did not
Mhm.
write creatively after that. I ended up I wrote in college, essays and, academic papers, but I didn't, write any creative writing
I'm so
until
sorry. I just wanna say that I'm so sorry that that happened, Jessica, and I think that happens a lot in society today, that somebody
Mhm.
can really easily say a judgment about something you do, and I'm really grateful that you picked it up again, because you write beautifully. I love your writing, and shame on that person, whoever told you that your writing is not good enough. And for all of you who are listening, and thank you so much for all of you joining, you are also good enough at your writing and your whole being, so just don't let anybody ever put you down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
it shows us, 1, the power of words, like, words do
Yes.
have impact, whether they're positive or negative, but it also like, one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my own author journey and this journey of, kind of finding myself again, realizing that we get to choose too, like, we get to be the authors of our own lives, and, like, so
Yeah.
I've learned that lesson, and it's funny too that my characters actually in my book are also learning that same lesson is, like, do they get to be dictated by the lives handed to them? In Miriam, she's in 1300s timeline, she's a weaver's daughter, she's 17-year-old, she's very fun and playful and spontaneous, and she doesn't wanna live a boring life. But she gets, eng is, promised to be married, from her father to
Yeah.
a man that she doesn't know, and so, a lot of parallels of the women in my book are experiences that I've had too, and I think that everyone can relate to in terms of, the life that you're told you're supposed to live, the life that your parents have handed you, what, and then reclaiming that for yourself, and
Absolutely.
choosing yourself and what is the life you want to live and realizing that you get to a choice. You don't always get to choose what happens to you in
Yeah.
life, but you get to choose how you respond to that and how you move from that spot. And so, yeah, I think it's really important that, I came back to writing because it is something that I love. And it really I get so excited talking about my book. I get so excited, thinking about when I block off time for my creative writing days, and those are, my favorite days where I just get to do a deep dive into the story that I'm working on. So yeah.
And I love it, and I'm just so excited already. We have 22 people joined us, and please, if you have any questions for me or Jessica, we are talking about her new book, and I'm very excited that OBA joined us. I mentioned you guys before One Brilliant Arc that's where we met, and now we even have a kitten joining us. Tell
Yes,
us about this kitten. Who is this?
this is Moon.
Hi, Moon.
This is her.
Adorable. Oh,
Yes,
thank
she
you.
knows it's very so today it's like 65 degrees outside now, and she knows that it's warm, and so she's been asking me to go outside. So we take her in. We have a fenced in backyard. She doesn't get complete free reign outside, but I'll let her in the backyard
That is so
after this.
wonderful. I think it's just so important what you mentioned before, that, people might have a perceived path of what they are supposed to be doing. And I really feel like you're teaching us through your book, like it's looks like it's a fiction, but it also embedded all these
Mhm.
teaching and empowerment for literally anybody through these three women that, we are still human beings who can absorb, and you can do your own path, and a path that
Mhm.
may be more fulfilling than what you are destined to do by other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I wanted to give so yeah, you mentioned so One Brilliant Arc, if you guys are not familiar with them, we saw them on here, but yeah, Gabriella and I met, doing a course or workshop with them. Some of the most amazing people that I've met through Substack, on
yeah.
here, wonderful editors and writers as well, and fellow creatives. So if you guys don't follow One Brilliant Arc, they also have a Substack here, so you should check them out. They do, if you are a writer, they have editing services, author coaching. I know they will be probably doing another course of Tell It Anyway in this next year. But yeah, I mean, I met amazing people through this, through Gabriella, Claire. I don't know if she's watching. Another amazing writer from the UK that I'll probably be doing a Substack um, live with at some point. So yes, I'm so happy to I think that's what it comes down to, like, why Substack is so different than any other platform too, is that it really does connect human beings, and that's why I love this space so much and have met such a wonderful community of people here.
Yeah, I do echo that, and I just want to say, yeah, you guys can mention either me or Jessica or both, and they will, welcome you with open arms. They are amazing people at OBA, and I'm really excited that they are here with us today. And I think building connections is just so amazing. Like we met there with Jessica, and I got into that workshop because my partner in crime, who we just published a book with, walking across continents, Gabriella Tatar, told me about that group. And even though I had a surgery just like day before that
Mhm.
group started, and I couldn't join immediately, they were so super nice and just let me follow up a few weeks later when I could actually join them. And I think there's just so much power into supporting each other because Jessica and I met there, and then she mentioned me to somebody else, Hargil, who then I already interviewed, and he interviewed me, and then he jumped into one of these with us before. And it's just so amazing how you can meet people and support each other. And I do believe in building that community for each other and empowering each other, not competing, can
Yeah.
just go so much farther.
Absolutely, agree, yeah, and it comes back to, like, that's, like,
Yeah.
again, the premise of my book, and honestly, what I believe, like, in my heart and my soul is that, like, we are all connected. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it and I think more and more people are realizing this, that there's more,
Mhm.
like, there really is something magical about the human connection, and we can be connected even if we live across the globe. Who knows, maybe in time, like my book, throughout
Yes.
centuries. um, but yeah, I mean, my book has these three women who are connected to each other throughout 1,000 years, and they learn how they're connected to each other. And without giving too much away, they're connected through this prophecy. Um, and you learn as you're reading kind of how their choices and actions, affect one another and are rippling through time as well. So,
Just like our choices and action in real
yep,
life right now affect each
exactly.
other,
Yeah.
right? If you just
Yep.
say yes to one person, then another person might just
Mhm.
come by, and it's amazing ways we can help each other and support each other. And so tell us about how it feels now, and what kind of you've been up to. So you waited for 5 years for this book to be
I
published.
did. Yeah.
I would be kind of curious to know why. And then once it's published now, like how it's going, and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so yeah, to be complete so before I wrote the book, I had been working, I actually had my own restaurant. It was a pay what you can cafe. in Kirksville, Missouri, called Take Root. And I had run that for about 5 years. And then, unfortunately, due to COVID, we did close down. And then at the same time, I was also on my local city council. And I also lost my council seat that same year. And then went through a divorce all within about like a 6-month time
The
span.
strike of 3, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so for me, honestly, it was very much just a personal choice of, like, self-preservation. I
Mhm.
was not in a creative space. I had written the book right after my restaurant closed while I was at home during COVID, and then kind of everything else happened after that, and I just didn't have the mental bandwidth or the creative bandwidth to put energy into anything else, and so, I ended up getting a very very basic, normal corporate job, which is unusual for me. But I was a newly single mom and I wanted easy. I was at that point in my life where
Mhm.
like, and I think that's necessary. Like sometimes we need that. And so like, people, I've talked to people who, feel guilty if they're not, like, oh, I'm not doing the thing that I love. I'm not doing, my passion. It's just like, well, sometimes it's not the right time. And that's okay
Yeah.
too. It's okay to have moments in your life where you're not doing all of the things that you
Well, and you
should be
can't.
doing. Again, like, you should
Y
who's making up
Yeah,
these rules?
exactly. And you can't always write, you can't always paint, you can't always
Mhm.
create. You also need different time to just observe and just be
Yes,
and
yeah,
do what
and
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's where I was at, and I took a lot of time to, do a lot of self-reflection, a lot of just
Mhm,
healing, and just yeah, honestly, just existing and taking care of my son, who's 13 years old now. So yeah, I did that for a good chunk of time, about 4 or 5 years, and then I was actually starting to get. I think I was starting to feel at the I guess at the spot where I wanted to do something creative again. I wanted to
mhm.
do something using like my skills that I think I have instead of just, I guess instead of shoveling them into a,
Yes.
a corporate job. And I didn't quite know what that would look like. But I was actually in a meditation last December and kind of got the message that said, do what you love and the rest will follow. And I instantly knew that meant my book, but I
Mhm,
also was hesitant to trust that I would figure out how to make a living, how to, all of the things that come with that. Like, what does that actually look like in a,
mhm.
practical manner? So, but then I had gotten that same message a few more times, kind of the universe speaking loud and clear to me that this was my next path, and I ended up, quitting my job last year and, leapt into, yeah, being an author, being a writer on Substack. I also do, um I'm starting to get into doing, like, author coaching and creative consulting, because I do know how to build a business, and I'm trying to put those to help other authors and creatives, do the same thing. So, it's been slow. I've been learning a lot. It's, got ups and downs, but I definitely don't regret it at all. This last year has been such an amazing learning experience and journey. So I'm enjoying where I'm at right now.
That is so amazing, and yeah, it's just so interesting that I am in a very similar path as you
Yeah,
are. So
yeah,
you and I
they
had some
work too.
conversations about that, and it's just, just like the woman in your book connect, like we
Mhm.
connect out here too, outside of the fantasy world because it's
Yeah.
just magical really how it all comes together. And
Because you were working as a nurse
yes,
previously, right, before this? And then now you're kind of shifting careers, but you've also had to
absolutely.
take a break and kinda just stop and take care of yourself because you fell, right? If
Yes.
yeah. Well, like,
Yes, and
what
I'm
it
still
yeah, I
recovering
was gonna
from
say
that. And I
mhm.
started writing too, but for a while I stopped writing too. It's just because, life and raising children and going to work and going
Mhm.
to school and all those things happen. And then I finally finished the book. My first book that was published, it was about addiction
Mhm.
because I was in a nursing field and worked with a lot of people with addiction. And it was recommended after you publish the book to start a blog and a website and
Mhm.
all that stuff. And then it was just like amazing from that, like just kept writing, kept
Yeah.
nonstop.
I know, I can't believe how fast you have written some of your more recent books. I'm like, it it won't take me 5 years to do the next one, but I'm shooting to write book 2. So my book is a trilogy, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm planning to write book 2. My goal is to have it done by the end of 2026. So, but I am
Wow,
like, I
amazing.
can't write that fast. I'm a slow writer.
But it's very different too. I mean, your book is like you it's a different type of book
Mhm.
than what I have done. And a lot of books that I have done are also collaboration, like the last
Yes.
one.
Sure.
The last book is the Across Nature Walks Across Continents is
Mhm.
with Gabriella. Also, it's we wrote it in 7 months, but what we done, we spoke it and then we transcribed
Yeah.
it and then we added to it and we just published it. So I think different books have different timelines, and your book is like quite thick, right?
It is, yeah. It's 500 pages, yeah.
Yeah. So ours is like 200 something. So,
Mhm.
it's also make a difference. I have not written anything that's fiction in a book,
Mhm.
written like few little fiction stories, but
Yeah.
that's like one of my challenges. I did start one. I'm 2 chapters into it and it's been sitting there for a year and I'm not sure where to go with it, but that might happen. So,
Yeah. Well,
I'm just really amazed by what you have done and that you listen to your gut feeling that this is what you need to do. And I'm very excited for your new upcoming business and that you're wanting to teach and empower other writers and
mhm.
authors. So please tell people how they are able to reach you and all those kind of things. And we'll add all the links that, in the below this video as well. So if you guys want to reach out to Jessica, you're going to have all the links and everything that you need to do. And of course, you can connect her with her through Substack as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll be honest, I've gone back and forth between exactly, like, nailing down what I want to be doing. 'Cause so
Hmm.
it's funny because I think I work like, even though I'm a writer and I love writing, I'm also an extrovert.
Uh-huh.
And so I love working with people, and so I think I've been hesitant to advertise myself just as an individual, whether that's an author coach or creative consultant, because I love working with a team so much.
Hmm.
And so I have actually started to I'm gonna be partnering with OBA, so One Brilliant Arc, and be cross promoting each other. So,
Yeah, I think the
I
same here. We're going to be
yeah.
all cross promoting each other.
Exactly, exactly. Um, because I'm I love working with people and I love the energy that you get by working with people and that
Hmm.
connection. So, I don't have my links up to work with me yet on my website, but I should have that out by like the end of this week or next week. If
That's fine.
people
So we can
yeah.
always add them
You can
later,
follow
you
me on
know? Yeah.
Substack. I am also doing for my paid subscribers on Substack. I am going to be writing a series of posts about indie publishing. So
Mhm.
everything from the very beginning writing journey. So, like for example, if you're someone like you and you're stuck at like you're like I'm at two chapters and I don't know what to do next, or you're wondering I'm going to walk people through kind of my process for outlining and plotting a novel and, I guess the way that I approach that, which is very different than some people. Some people can just sit down and write. That's not me at all. Um, I'm absolutely a plotter. So, do you know the difference? Like, have you heard the plotter or pantser type writers?
Yeah, I do. I just kind of I'm exactly the other one. I just
Okay. So, So, I mean, this is why it's great. Like, not everyone has to do it the same way,
Absolutely.
but hopefully, I have something to share and help people with if they are interested in more of like the plotting route. So, like, what I actually do, so like when I first outlined book one, I knew I actually outlined all 3 books, and I had this story, and I quickly realized that it was way too long to be 1 book, which is why then I
Mhm,
broke it into 3. So I have books 2 and 3 generally outlined, like bullet points and, like, the overarching, like, how
mhm.
the story ends, how the
Yeah.
trilogy ends. And just a little, not a spoiler, but I love plot twists, and I love, again, weaving stories together and
Mhm,
having stories kind of come back to in on themselves, and so there's, like, a plot reveal at the very, very end of book 3 that will bring you all the way back to the beginning of book 1, and you're like, "Oh my gosh." So
that is great, I can't wait.
I can't wait for people to read book 3 when it is written.
And that's gonna be
Um,
2027?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so got a little bit of time, but anyways, what I was saying about plotting and, so yeah, I start with a little bit of a general outline, and then I personally use, the hero's journey as my, like, main plot structure. I love the hero's journey. Are you familiar
Mhm.
with it at all?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, so, the term was coined by Joseph Campbell,
Yeah.
who was a mythologist, and he studied a lot of myths and stories and ancient stories. And I really believe that the hero's journey is honestly like the soul's journey that we go through in our lifetimes, like sometimes multiple times. And I feel like it resonates so strongly with people for that reason, is because we kind of live this journey many
Mhm,
times throughout our life. And so, Star Wars is one of the most famous examples of a, story that follows the hero's journey. But I also love turning plot structures or tropes on their head too. So I don't
mhm,
strictly abide by the hero's journey structure either. But so I lay out kind of my plot structure that way, and then I figure out where these scenes kind of fit into that structure, and then I will slowly expand those descriptions of each of those plot points. And so I basically end up with like a mini book that's like a summary of each plot point.
yes.
And then I break them into then chapters after that. And so, like, before I wrote book one, I ended up having probably like a 10-page document, which was like a summary of my book, chapter by chapter. And so it's just like slow expanding. And then I do get into more of what more like pants like writing. So where I'm not, where I end up letting the characters kind of have their own conversations and I don't exactly know where they're going. And you kind of let that fun writing process just take a life of its own. But yeah, I have a very, very, organized way
Yeah,
of
which
plotting
is
out my books.
which I can tell you it's exactly, the same way how scientific research is done.
Okay,
So
there you
I did
go.
the same thing through my PhD. So and I think that's why I'm not doing that in my creative writing because that's
Mm,
how the scientific writing like, literally, we have a 10-page document on
yeah.
what you need to write about and what the research process need to include. And
Mhm.
then you slowly expand on each question
There you
and then
go.
add all the articles and knowledge and everything you researched into it. So but it's really interesting that because I done so much that through schooling and in other
Mhm.
things, in my writing, I don't do that. While other people who might have not, like they like that type of
Yeah.
things. I mean, in that science fiction one that I started, I kind of had
Mhm.
an idea of where it might go, but I didn't
Yeah.
want to like fix it down because I want it to be flexible. Like if the
Mhm.
character wants to do something else, then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And I usually like I just closed my eyes and imagined this
Mhm.
person and what they would be doing and kind of let myself kind of then take another life. And
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm curious. I might go back to that and
Yeah.
play with that a little bit more. It's fun, but mostly like with my writing, I'm just kind of sticking to what is,
Mhm.
not fictional, just kind of um, about life and other things. Although poetry is kind of fictional. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's fictional or not. It's kind of in between
It is
because
in between, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping to have, yeah, a series, of it'll be, yeah, paid subscriber posts that will kind of
yeah,
document the entire process. But I think that's what's, the best thing for a writer, if people are listening who are writers also, I think it's like to find what works for you. And
absolutely.
so that's the nice thing about Substacks too, is like we can read all of these. Like I actually did I was in a indie author masterclass last week.
Okay.
Like I like with another author, like I was a participant, like watching it. Um and I learned like, I was going into it, just, like, open-minded, and I learned so much and learned like, I was like, "Oh, I thought I knew a lot about the publishing piece." I've learned so much like, I have learned a lot and the marketing, aspect, but I learned like, there were so many other things that I had no idea even existed, and I'm like, "Okay, so I still" there's always something to learn, and to learn, like, you don't have to do it the same. Like, you
Absolutely.
can
Yeah.
you can market a book totally differently and successfully than someone else. Like, it doesn't have there's not one size fits all for writing a book, for publishing a book, for marketing a book.
Yeah.
You it really find, like, what works for you, personally. But the one thing I'm super excited about, that I learned from that is I didn't know this was a thing. Have you heard of virtual book tours?
No, I have
Yeah.
not.
I had
Oh,
not either, and I, just actually signed up to do one, so it's not gonna happen until, like, March.
okay.
So I love the idea of a book tour, and I'm already planning local events where I'm at, but I'm like obviously due to like finances at some point when my
Yeah.
book blows up, I'll be able to like fly
More
around
time
the
or yeah.
globe, to promote my book. But right now, the idea of a virtual book tour is pretty awesome. And basically, what they do is this company sets you up with so they send out your book to, let's say, you get to decide how many like reviewers and the time frame that people review it, and you pay accordingly. um but so they're setting you up with like book talk and booktube and bookstagram influencers, people who do reviews and read books, because I've been sending out lots of messages and trying to get people to read, but a lot of people are either booked up or they aren't, or they don't respond at all. And so, like, I've been struggling with getting my book out to bigger audiences outside of Substack because
Yeah.
have my own audience here.
That's a struggle for everybody. I just don't want you to feel alone. It's
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
it's a struggle for me
Um,
too.
Yeah, and so what they do and so then, when they send it out, they give the reviewers enough time to read it, and then they have a virtual book tour where on each different day of the tour, a different reviewer posts and reviews about your book, online to their followers, but then they also tag, the company that organized the tour, and they have I think the one I went with is called Love Book Tours. And they have about 13,000 followers on Instagram themselves, and so they tag them, and then they'll tag me as well, and so, like, it's just a way to get a lot more viewers and people hearing about
Mhm.
your book, and so I've heard good things. There were other authors, that were in this workshop that I did, who have already done virtual book tours and liked them. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's a new
But
experience
it's
and,
something new. I mean,
again, a cool thing we can do with the power of the internet. The
well,
one of
and
the
just
good
like this,
things.
even just like, doing what we are doing, that was not a thing
Mhm.
before, just having conversations
Yeah,
about your work. So I think that's also important. So people get to know you and they might like you. And if they like you, then they might like your book. So
exactly. Hopefully.
as well. Um,
Yeah.
so besides writing and, now managing, virtual book tours and things like that. Anything else you would like to share with our 33 participants and all the people who are going to watch after about you?
About me, I don't I'm probably gonna get outside after this. That's one of the things, like, and,
Nice.
you and I connected over this too. I think just, like, our love of nature, and that's where I, feel most connected, where I get grounded if I feel like, right, today I'll be at, like, I think that's the other thing that maybe a lot of people don't talk enough about is, the ups and downs too of a creative life, that it's not like
Yeah.
every day you just go, go, go and be able to, like, produce and create. Like, today, for some reason, my head has just felt so scrambled and scattered, and I'm like, I just needed so, like, I'm like, I think for the rest of the day, I'm just gonna go and be outside. My pets are clearly telling me it's time to go outside. Um,
Yeah.
enjoy the sunshine, um, because I think too that rejuvenates me for when I, come back and I'm ready to be creative again. So it's like it's not always a consistent production, and I don't think anyone can really do that constantly. And so, remembering to have those moments of slowing down. Yes, and going outside. She probably heard me say the word. So,
I
but
agree.
yeah.
And I was just gonna grab my book to show the nature book since you brought up nature.
Yeah, please,
I can.
let's see.
So this is a nature book, and this is called the Weaving Connection series, and nature walks across continents, and written by me and Gabriella Tatar. And I'm really excited because I'm going to meet Gabriella for the
Oh,
first time
in
next
real
week
life? Oh my
when I'm
gosh.
I'm traveling to Hungary, and I'm gonna spend a few months in Hungary with family and friends. And it's been amazing because we were walking literally across continents
Yeah.
for 6 to 7 months before, publishing this book and then working on this book together. And she's also part of Dancing Elephant Press, which is my publication both on Substack and Medium, and she's an
Mhm.
editor. And we just decided one day the same thing, is like we need to go outside and just be in nature, and started to
Mhm.
do these lives on Substack. And this is the birth of this book, which
That's so
is just.
cool. Wow.
And then I'm an artist too, so this is my painting that's on the book
Oh my gosh, you
too.
did that yourself? Wow. That's
Yeah, and then
great.
she put the cover together, and this little symbol, I don't know if you guys can see in the corner, that's also a little mini painting that's going to be symbolizing this Weaving Connection series that we are starting.
Oh,
And
I love
the
it.
next book is almost about out, and it's specifically for women. So
Okay.
I'm very excited about it. And that is for women connecting across continents, across
Love it.
religions, across, like, almost feel like time, but it's more
Yeah.
like space. But we are different ages
Mhm.
and different cultures and different um, places where we were born. Like, it's literally across the globe.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing how we are somehow all connected,
Mhm.
just like how we met or where are we from. And, like, as you were talking about connections, like, I felt a really strong connection to you the first time we met, and then we just talked, and we just, like, an hour just went by. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like I thought, like, we could talk forever. And I think it's
Mhm.
just there's a reason why we find each other, like,
I do.
it's
Yeah.
almost feel like a spider web, and somehow support each other and come in and out of each other's time when it's mostly needed. And
Mhm.
I really appreciate you sharing your story, because your story gives power to my story and encouragement as well. So I
Thank
think
you.
it's really exciting when we
Yeah.
can share story. I think sharing the stories and storytelling have so much power that we kind of forgot, how
Mhm.
much power the written and the spoken word has in
Yeah.
today's, like, fast-paced society.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I really think there's a shift happening where people are craving that, like, real, authentic connection and seeing the beauty in slowing down in, Substack
Yeah.
as proof, like in long form essays, probably, 10 years ago, people wanted the quick sound bites. They wanted, Twitter and things like that. And now people are reading full, essays on Substack. And I think people want that. They want that depth. Because so much of our world is that, the quick, short, AI content and things like that. So,
Which
I
does
think
not have much meaning.
no,
But,
I think there's something coming. And then that brings me to what we talked about in our last conversation is someday we're going to be hosting who knows, storytelling workshop, get together in possibly France, right?
yeah,
Cuz I
yeah.
can't wait. Because
And
that's
since then, I
gonna
made some more connections about that
Mhm.
actually. So
See, I knew you
there's
would.
there's more people who are interested in that, and one of them actually lives there part-time. So it's just
Yeah.
like I'm gonna talk to them tomorrow. So it's gonna be, like, so interesting, like, how this is all gonna happen, but I feel like that pull toward, like, how you were talking about that pull, and, I just wanna say we have some comments, um, on the chat. One
Mhm.
brilliant arc said, "This is a lovely conversation. Thank you, Gabriella and Jess. We are so excited for all of the magic you're creating and can't wait to continue working with supporting each of you." And the motivation with Michael O'Brien said, "Yes, we need to slow down and breathe in life and better see, hear, and love each other." I think we both agree with that. And then Ashley Smith said, "Wow, I'm profoundly grateful for all of you." And I'm just going to scroll back a little bit. Motivation with Michael O'Brien also said, "Hero's journey is life. Spot on, Jessica."
Mhm.
And just a lot of encouragement. Some people showed up late saying hello. And I just really appreciate all of you coming in to hear about Jessica and her new book. And one brilliant arc also said, "We're so glad to meet amazing people like you ladies. Thank you." Same here too. And they also can't wait to read Jessica, your book. Love, Moon. Congratulations. A lot of congratulations and welcome and all that. And Ashley Smith also saying there are too many negative persons here and we need empowerment for each other.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I agree with all of that, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And if you guys have any questions for me and Jessica, you can still put it in. Probably we are going to wrap up here in a little bit, but also
Mhm.
if you have comments later, you can put it on Substack, and this will also show up on my YouTube channel as well. So if you guys have any questions or anything, and then you can also find Jessica Ann on Substack as
Yeah.
well. And we might add links later. So if you guys want to come back, you can also do that. Uh,
Yes.
Non-Fungible Book Club says, "Thank you for amazing host and writer. Such a thoughtful, inspiring conversation. Truly appreciate it. Keep going, ladies."
Well, thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah, and
So,
if people do wanna buy my book,
yes,
I have to do that plug.
absolutely. Yes, you do. Please do. And
Yes,
we'll
if
put
you
the links, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's super easy because I on every single social media or Substack, I am Jess Ann Creates. So if you go to jessannCreates.com, that is my website, and you can buy my book direct from me. That was actually one of the things that I realize a lot of indie authors don't do is they don't have a
Yeah.
direct link. They just use Amazon or Barnes& and Noble, and the difference in profits is huge. So, for example, I only get about $6 in profits from my book, which is 23.99. So it's not even a cheap book. But I
Yeah.
only make about $6 on Amazon. Whereas through my direct link, and I don't have to handle shipping or distribution. So if you're an indie author, you should definitely have a setup like this where people can order direct from your website. The order gets sent directly to a printer. I use Book Vault. They're an amazing UK-based company, but they also have a US printer. I believe they actually have printers in UK, Australia, Canada, and the US. They've been an amazing company to work with, but they get the order directly. They handle the printing and the shipping. They've been super, super great. And then I don't have to handle that, and I make about $10 to $15 off of every sale versus the 7 or 6 or 7 I get from Amazon. So it's a really big difference, especially as a indie author. I've already made over $1,000. I haven't actually calculated it more recently. I've sold 103 books, I think, as of today. So,
Amazing.
yeah, but yeah. So if anyone wants help getting set up with like a direct link, that'll be another one that I'm going to be posting on Substack for my paid subscribers too.
Sounds wonderful. Um, Thank you so much. I mean, the few people just joined, Lillian and Adam, thank you so much for joining. We are getting close to the end, so at this point, it's going to be a recording that you can go back and watch. That's also available on both our Substack and also on YouTube. So
Yeah, Catherine just
Catherine's
asked.
asking if you're sharing that information, and Jessica did say that she will be sharing that with her paid subscribers. And we do have to keep some trade secrets, right? We can't give everything away for free because you do have to make a living somehow. So thank you so much for everybody joining today. Any last word, Jessica, for the day? Any
No,
words
just
of wisdom?
thank you so much for having me, and
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoy my book personally.
I love it. I mean, I already love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I am curious, do you have a favorite? So, like each of the characters are all very
Mhm.
different. If you,
Yes.
started reading, do you have a favorite yet, or kind of which storyline are you most drawn to?
Well, I'm really curious about what's happening in the past just because it's just so fascinating to
Mhm.
go back and follow
Yeah.
that storyline. And I really just love how you started that a little bit of a giveaway, kind of like with the kind of creepy looking apple coming up on a tree, which still
Yeah.
goes back to Adam and Eve and all that
Yep.
kind of stuff. So I'm kind of intrigued by that. And
Okay.
I hope that, she's going to be great. But it's also fascinating to look at the future. It's like, oh my God, you know, like hundreds of years like out, what is going to be happening. And
Mhm.
so I like all the three storylines. I'm really drawn to the first one, I
Okay.
think,
Yeah.
but
The
I
medieval
really like all
timeline.
of
Yeah.
them. So how about you? You have a favorite one?
Well, yeah, someone actually asked me this yesterday, and I was like, "It's so hard to choose because I really do like I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, they all kind of represent different parts of me.
yeah.
Like Miriam is she's the 1300s timeline. She's very much my younger self, my optimistic self, naive a little bit self,
Hmm.
um, very hopeful about the world. Leah is my single mom present day character. She's very much a little bit of my shadow self, but I think we all have that in her, that type of person in
Yeah.
ourselves. She's sarcastic, she's dry, she's pessimistic. She doesn't believe in anything. um, we've all been there. Drinks too much wine. No. and and then Karaya, I think for me, in the future timeline, um she does represent a little bit more of, like, who I want to become. Her character specifically, though, isn't as developed in this first book
Hmm.
because she grows up in a world where they have neurocredits where they can
Yes.
get an instant dose of serotonin and dopamine into their brains at any time, and so, most people haven't ever had to face their own feelings, haven't had to face life, really, like, that's just this very cushy, perfect world, and so her character develops a lot more in books 2 and 3. But
I was
I think
wondering
I'm
about
gonna
I was
have to say
wondering about that.
Karaya. I also just love the future dystopian timelines
Yeah.
too. So, but it's hard to pick.
Yeah, but I do feel like the connection to all of them, and I think like anybody who would read it would feel some kind of connection to any of those characters
Yeah.
because as you were saying, they are a part of you, and I think they're a part of all of us. I mean, we
Mhm.
all have that wondrous thoughts and ups and downs in life,
Yeah.
and as we talked about in the beginning, that path that people might perceive that we should be taking, but we are like, I don't want to take that path. I want to do something else.
Yeah.
And then you have the constrictions of society and other people and things like that
Mhm.
on your path. So I love the book. I'm really excited that you're working on a second and a third one. I think it's a great series, and thank you for sharing your wisdom with us and sharing a little bit about the book, and hope we can talk again later
Yes,
and talk
absolutely.
more about it. Thank you for all the
Yeah,
people who
thank
joined.
you.
43 people. We are very excited. Thank you for coming. And again, this recording will be on Substack and also on my YouTube, and you can find both Jessica and me on Substack.
Yep.
So thank you so much for coming. Have a great day. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.